What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to another video and to the channel. So for this video, I'm going to be installing a couple new interior mods for my F80 M3. You guys may have noticed the trunk is open right now, and that's because I already disconnected the battery, which is required for the installation of these parts that I'm going to be installing in the interior. So taking a look at this gorgeous interior of the F80, you guys can see the new pieces right there on the center armrest. And then you guys can see I have an LED light back there so that you guys can see better when I'm filming. So the first piece that I'm going to be installing is this blue colored start stop ignition button. It's going to replace the original black start stop ignition button. As you guys can see, it looks exactly the same, just blue. And then I'm going to be installing these blue colored M1 and M2 buttons to replace these black M1 and M2 buttons on the steering wheel. Now I know nothing crazy here, but I think these will add a very cool, nice little touch to the interior, adding some blue color to the interior of the car to match with the individual Avis blue on the exterior. Now to install these, it's fairly easy. The start stop ignition button, I already did a video on how to install that like step by step when I had my F30, since the ignition button unit is exactly the same as on the F80 here. Then with the M1 and M2 buttons, it's a little bit more difficult. I'm gonna have to remove the airbag and then remove this carbon trim piece, and then there's one screw on the back here that's holding this whole unit to the rest of the steering wheel. And then I'm gonna have to take apart this unit here so that I can remove these two pieces from it. So like I said, I already disconnected the battery, as you guys can see here. And then I have a rag there to block the latch just in case the trunk falls down. Now this was necessary since I'm gonna have to remove the airbag to get to the M1 and M2 buttons. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started on installing these pieces. I'm gonna go ahead and start with the ignition button first. And just like that, the start stop ignition button piece is in. Doing this piece is very easy. It literally only took me like 3 minutes, so yeah. All right, so now I'm gonna do the M1 and M2 buttons. So the first thing I'm gonna do is remove the airbag. For those of you who may not know how to remove an airbag, there are these two holes on the sides of the steering wheel here. You simply stick either like a flathead screwdriver, or you can use any other tool that can fit inside this hole. I'm just using this little Torx tool here. There we go, just like that. Now I'm gonna go ahead and remove this carbon fiber trim piece here. It's just held on by 3 Torx screws. So I'm just gonna use this T20 Torx bit here. So there's 2 screws inside here, and then there's one down here on the very bottom on the back of the steering wheel. There we go. Now I'm gonna go ahead and remove this paddle shifter over here by removing another T20 Torx screw, since it's blocking the screw that's holding this piece to the steering wheel. Alright, so now the screw that's holding this whole unit here with the M1 and 2 buttons is exposed. So now I can use the same T20 Torx bit to loosen this screw. There we go. As you guys can see, it is free now. Alright, so now I'm gonna open up this whole unit here by removing these 3 screws here, as you guys can see. Now I can take this off. You guys can see there. Set put that off to the side. Alright, so this is what I needed access to. So you guys can see the M1 and M2 button. If you look on the back, you can see the back side of it here. One on the bottom, the M2 button, and then the M1 button up there. So I can see inside that they're just simply hooked on or clipped on to another piece. So to remove them, I just need to unclip them on the top and the bottom on both. I'm going to be using this little tiny flathead to do that. I'll try my best to show you guys. There we go. I got the top one, the M1 button. You guys can see there. Alright, so now I gotta do the M2 button on the bottom. Got it. There we go. Got the M2 button. Alright, so now I can just simply clip the blue M1 button in place. So as you guys can see, both of the new blue M1 and M2 buttons are in place. So now I'll go ahead and reinstall everything. Alright, so everything has been reinstalled and you guys can see the final look of these new colored M1 and M2 buttons, and then the colored start stop ignition button. And then to make sure the M1 and M2 buttons are functioning properly, I'll go ahead and press the M1. You guys can see the M1 popped up there, and then I'll go ahead and press the M2. You guys can see the M2. I have the M1 as my sporty aggressive setting. So you guys can see in the heads up display, this is the sporty setting. And then the M2 is my comfort setting. You guys can see there, it's switched to a more just comfortable heads up display. So yeah, these added a nice little touch to the interior of the F80s, you guys can see. I mean, there's not much that could have gone wrong with these, honestly. These are very easy to install, and it's not some, significant modification that adds something huge. It's just more of a subtle little addition to the interior. It's just nice to have some blue on the interior to go with the Avis blue on the exterior there. In addition, it just adds a cool little unique touch to just this overall view when you're sitting in the driver's seat. And then also I just noticed it matches the blue top stripe on the M Performance steering wheel. So with all of that being said, I think it's time to go on a little cruise in the F80. I think I'm gonna go ahead and stop and get some gas real quick here. One thing I've noticed about the F80 is that the gas mileage kind of sucks. It's kind of worse than what I thought it was going to be. It was stated that the MPG would be about 25 on the highway and then like 17 in the city. But the car is telling me that it's getting about like 14, 15 MPG on average. And I can definitely tell because my gas tank empties fairly quickly, even though I don't even drive this car that often. I drive my E90 most of the time, but still, it seems like the gas tank goes down fairly quickly despite me not driving it. Now, I wouldn't say it's as worse as like having like a V8, since obviously this is an inline six. So I guess the gas mileage is okay compared to like having a V8. But yeah, that is one thing that I've noticed so far after owning this car for the last 2 months. Gas mileage is not that good. So I actually just hit 20,000 miles on this car already. Now, when I first went to go get it in San Jose, I was at like 18,400. But I did have to drive it all the way down from San Jose down to where I am here in San Diego. So that added like easily 400, 500 miles just in one drive. So that put it at like 19,000 miles. So that means I put 1,000 miles on this car in the last like month and a half, 2 months. I guess I have been kind of driving it a lot since it's, you know, a brand new car, and I've kind of just been enjoying it a bit. But I still really haven't been driving it like, you know, like every day or anything like that. Really need to pull the trigger on some exhaust parts to get this car sounding a lot louder and a lot better. Right now I'm thinking of going with the single mid pipe with a high flow catted down pipe. So far from the videos I've seen of that setup, it sounds very good and a lot better than how it sounds right now with the stock setup. To drive through some curves here because not only is this car pretty fast, it is so much fun around curves and through canyons. Probably my most favorite thing to do with this car is to drive through some canyons and around sharp turns. I really got to take this car to like the track or something because it feels like this car is meant for that. And I really got to take it to the track to see the true full potential of this car. Of course, we had to get caught behind a trash truck. if any of you watching have the F80 M3 or F82 M4 as your dream car, I sincerely hope you guys are able to get it at some point, because it is definitely worth it. And it is definitely worth being a dream car. But yeah, anyway, back to the colored M1 and M2 buttons and the start stop ignition button. Those are now available on inline6auto.com, so if you guys possibly want to check those out, I'll leave a link to them as usual in the description of this video. So yeah, as usual, thanks for joining me here in another video. If you are new here and this is your first time seeing me and my channel, feel free to subscribe if you liked what you saw in this video, and if you want to see what else I have planned for my F80 here. Again, the colored M1 and M2 buttons and the colored start stop button are nothing crazy. I know, I'm pretty sure you guys want me to do something more crazy, more exciting. I do have my first like big sort of more exciting modification coming for the F80. So yeah, stay tuned. I still got a lot more stuff I need to do to the F80. But yeah, anyway, thank you guys for watching. As always, give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and feel free to check out inline6auto.com if you're looking for any aftermarket mods for your BMW. I have it linked in the description as well. But yeah, anyway, I will catch you guys in the next video.